Hello, everyone. My name is Masao Kakihara from Google. So I'd like to do my presentation. I think that, first of all, I'd like to start with my feeling now. I'm feeling really scared now because you're coming from the very quantitative world in front of a lot of the excellent quality researchers being really ready to attack a company like Google, and what's worse, you are hungry. So it's really worst time to present this presentation. But anyway, so I think today I'm going to talk about how I do is the market research in general, and both in the quantitative and also qualitative in the world. And we are now trying to the new approach to do the marketing research, especially in this APAC region. So, and then just like to give you a glimpse of. So it's just like to start with a glimpse of the research activity in the Google, and then also some big issues that we face now at the global level, and also in general, and also this APAC region in particular. And as I said, we are now doing some of the experimental things for the qualitative or ethnographic research in this region. So, rather than explaining what we found through the ethnographic research, I'd like to share with you some challenges or issues that we are now facing with. So, because we have really big issues to use the qualitative research inside this company. Like we have been really dependent on the quant data, both for the internal log data and also the external third-party quant data. So, but it is a really big challenge for us. But let me give you the just marketing things at Google. We are now doing the research both sides, on the users and then also technology sides. We say that our marketing activities saying like know the users, know the magic, and then connect the two. So this is our marketing principles or missions that we are doing at the global level. So not just for the looking into the deep usage of the users, but at the same time, we are really keen to understand the technology per se, how the technology can change their people's life or world, anything. So, and this is a kind of the interconnected things. So it's really important to understand this kind of the cycles between the usage and the technologies, right? So there are roughly two big areas that we are doing the marketing research at Google. So one is the advertising research. The other is product research. As you might already know that more than 95% of our revenue comes from the ad, online ad. So we need to understand how our ad platform can work for the advertisers. So this is our ad research. But at the same time, we really need to understand the technology and also our product, like a Google Map, Chrome, Android, and then we are now trying to launch the new product in a lot of the market. Like I think that we launched it 2 years ago. It's the Google Plus as a kind of new social platform, but that is not good at working in the world, and especially in APAC region. So we are quite being struggling with this kind of new product. But as I said, our revenue mostly comes from the ad. So our research activity has been quite focusing on more than the ad research rather than the product research. So we have been doing a lot of the marketing research, but that is not just for ourselves, but more than for the advertisers who has been investing in the online ad, but who will be potentially investing in the online ad in the future. So, but in the digital world, so there are still a lot of things we don't know yet. So I think I've been using this photo in the last 2 years, right? So in the 2 years ago, I used the images of the in-home usage of the device as kind of the futuristic or a bit future image. But nowadays, this is already a reality, right? So it's so fast, rapidly diffusing this kind of technology. So it's amazingly fast. So but we still do not fully understand how people use each devices like smartphone, tablet, new kind of the things between the smartphone and tablet and the smart TV. They are using these new devices and the technologies inside home and also the outside home. But it is still really hard to fully understand the reality of the device usage and then also the service usage. And as I said, the smartphone and the smart devices like tablet is really important thing for us because as you all know, the online usage has been rapidly shifting from the desktop world to the mobile world. As you all have a smartphone in your pocket, so you can easily access online anywhere, anytime. So it's the radical change of a desktop-based online activity, right? So then we've been doing a lot of quantitative research, as you know, like how people use the internet in general and the smartphone research, and then we are really keen to publish our research on the online space and also the offline space as a kind of the public website or white paper, something like that. So, and then to make this kind of the reality as the ordinary things in not just for the consumers, but also the advertisers. Because I think that there are some people from the large advertisers in this room, like P&G, something like that. So, and they have been investing most of the online advertising budget to the TV and the other offline media, like print. But some people are gradually changing their mind to understand how the ad work, not just for the offline, but also online. But still, there are many, many large advertisers who are still really reluctant to understand the power or value of online ads. So we need to convey this kind of the marketing research as a kind of message or narratives to drive the industry change, right? So, but these are there are lots of the research you can access freely. But these are some issues that we have faced now. So, as I think the guy from the Ericsson said that in this morning, so and the usage of smartphone or tablet is really active and then really connected to the real life. But it is really hard to get the actual data based on the survey, right? People simply can't recall what they do on the mobile phone. So, and I think it is really hard to, even for them, to explain how they use a smartphone in in their home, like the bathroom or living room or bedroom. So survey data is still really important and valuable, but at the same time, it's really hard to get the full sense of their usage. Second thing, this is also things that has been discussed a bit this morning so far. There are really the hard issues around the privacy. So actually, we have internal data, like Android OS usage or device usage, and also our product usage on the desktop and the mobile. And we can use that internal data for our product development. But it is really, really hard. It's almost impossible to use that internal data for the external partners like advertisers, just because of the privacy issues. we have been faced with a really hard privacy issue, especially in Europe. So we are really, really careful to use our internal data to make this kind of the research happens. So especially for the mobile is kind of sort of the treasure place of the behavioral data, right? So like the mobile on-device meta, for example, can track every activity on the smartphone every minute, every second. But if we can connect to the mobile phone data to our internal log data, we inevitably have this kind of privacy issue. So especially for the ad research, we can't use that internal data. So, and we need to figure out how we can do in the alternative approach. So that's another thing. And also there's gap between the time spent of the people on the smart devices and the advertisers' investment of the advertisers on the smartphone. Like, so the people spend a lot of time in a day on the smartphone. Like I think so it's like as been discussed this morning. So lots of people using the online communication chat app like WhatsApp, KakaoTalk, Line. And so, but I think so if you look at the online ad investment of the large advertisers like GM, something, Toyota, something like that, so they have not spent their own ad budget to the mobile thing. There's really big gap between the time spent, which is the kind of the opportunity of the media as a mobile phone, and the actual spent. So, and then we need to fill this gap in some way. So we decided to do some ethnographic work in Singapore. I don't want to go into detail this study because I think that you are kind of qualitative researcher expert. So it's not new approach, just a really simple ethnographic research. We've been working with the ethnographer based in the US, but he's moved to Singapore to do some of the ethnographic research for the Singaporeans, the smartphone usage and the tablet usage. And then, I think, as you know, the traditional ethnographic research in the true anthropology takes, I think, a few years. But this is just a few weeks ethnography in Singapore. But even so, I think it is really good for us to get the sense of the reality of the people's usage of smartphone in their real life, not just based on the survey data, but based on the observation. Right? So we did this study in May this year. So I don't want to go into the details. At least we have found really interesting things through this ethnography. Just a couple of things. Singapore is a really unique place because here the smartphone penetration is more than 70%. I think one of the highest market in terms of the smartphone penetration in the world. And here, also there are quite a large share of the iOS. So, and then there's really the Android and the iOS competing really harshly. And then young people really actively using this kind of smartphone. And then, but in somewhat different way from the Western context. Right? So we found that the smartphone usage in the Singaporean, especially for the young people, like for them, smartphone is sort of like the only private place where they can escape from the reality, where they are in a quite really hard pressure of the education, like and then they likely to be escaping to the smartphone area, like the actual pure private area for them. So it is we have seen that much stronger emotional connection to the smart device than the Western world in Singapore. But anyway, this is the really just a glimpse of the research. And the things I wanted to talk about is how we use this qualitative research, especially the ethnographic research, inside Google, where we've been really using the quantitative data. Right? So, and the one thing is we are trying to do now is that to make as usual, trying to make this result public. And we are now creating the white paper of the ethnographic research, and then we are going to hold the public event next month in Singapore. So, and trying to explain the result at the same time, so to the full value or full meanings of mobile. So I think it's just an example. So I think this is the final slides I have. So this is the things, these are the things I want to discuss with you rather than showing my experience. So one thing is that we are still really struggling with how to connect these qualitative or pure ethnographic findings to the large quantitative data in the kind of the really good storyline. So we need to have a really good narratives or story to make the advertisers or external people understand full value of the digital. Next thing is this is a classic issue for the qualitative research. We need a deep interpretation of the qualitative data, but that inevitably happens at a low generalizability. Right? It's every time I explain this kind of qualitative data, and then audience says that the internal audience says that, so what? And then this is a really particular result in the Singapore, for example, something like that. So we need to generalize the result, but we don't have any good solution for this. Third thing is, again, so it's also the classic issue, how we can explain, how we can utilize the qualitative result to, not just for the internal people, but also the external audience, like advertisers, pure audiences. So, and we are now, just like we just said in the previous presentation, we are now just started this approach in APAC. So it will be really grateful to have your suggestion or feedback. Okay, thank you very much.
I think you pointed to a very relevant tension that we see quite often, which is this dilemma between, not dilemma, but perceived dilemma between quantitative and qualitative. Google is famously database and analytics driven. And so what I wanted to understand a bit more is bringing this type of perspective in, and it sounds very novel in what you're doing and bringing in to the company. How has that journey been, and what has been successful for you bringing that lens into a famously data-based quantitative company?
Right. Okay, thank you very much. So, and I think we can split the issues into the two parts. I think the ad research and the product research. I think that on the product research, to be honest, it is really hard to use the qualitative data for our own product research because, as I said, we have a lot of the internal log data, and also for the characteristics of the digital online service, almost all the data points can be tracked online. So, and then there's, to be honest, really rich room to put the qualitative insight into that part. But on the other hand, the ad research sites. So, and as I said, there are still many advertisers who are really keen to understand the sort of more contextualize the insights rather than just simple data or analysis, or rather than, actually we do a lot of the econometric things or the modeling things. But like PMZ, the client also really used to that kind of the quantitative research analysis. They are really keen to understand how those two can be connected to get more insightful things. But again, to be honest, I think that for the advertisers, we are not trying to do this kind of the qualitative analytics. But it is not kind of things that we try to complement to the quantitative research. We just now focusing on the creating the story. It's not like a research, but I think the personal view, I can use the qualitative research not just as a kind of the supplement or complement to the quantitative data, but for just kind of the means of the articulations, like a expression of the result, how we can say to the advertiser. So I think we need to understand more about this kind of thing. But anyway, thank you very much.
First of all, thank you very much for the insights you gave us about the quant Google. Very interesting, very impressive. Also about the challenges you are facing within Google to learn more out of markets, more out of the attitudes people are dealing with mobile solutions. I was very surprised in the very early beginning. I saw a picture, and you pointed out that Singapore has a very high rate of smartphone usage, mobile usage, that in Japan, as far as I had seen it, it's only 30% or something, which are using smartphones. How comes that?
Yeah.
I was thinking that Japan would have 120% mobile usage.
I can answer the question because I'm Japanese, so it's really interesting. It's the highest the smartphone penetration in the APAC is Singapore and South Korea, right? So more than 70%, whereas the India, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Japan is a kind of the really low group in terms of the smartphone penetration. In Japan, I think that the one thing is that we have a really advanced feature phone market. So people still don't feel like they need to change from the feature phone to the smartphone. It's not the basic feature phone. It's a really advanced feature phone. So I think that is kind of things that the Japan market is quite lagged behind the other markets. But at the same time, it is really important to understand for the Japan market. So this is really different, but at the same time, the people are not used to using the application because of the most of the mobile service is designed for the feature phone browser based in Japan. So it's not still now rapidly the transferring the online native app things, but there are still a lot of the browser based thing. So it is kind of the period of the transition at the moment in Japan. So.
I just want to give some feedback. I came from a product management background about connecting quantitative and qualitative. One thing is that quantitative is great for getting your samples, profiling. Like for example, if you see a spike of certain usage, who are these people, and you can actually scope them for your qualitative. And from there, you get your meaning and your story. Yeah, and at the same time, when you have a qualitative research, when they feedback, what kind of features or what do they use and all that, you need to connect it back to quantitative in terms of numbers. How many percentage of users actually do the same thing, so that it's not just one or two. That's usually how we use it in product management as well.
Thank you very much. I think it is really valuable for me. As I said, this is just a starting point for us to how to connect the qualitative data. But the typical answers from the internal audience when I show this kind of qualitative data is about something like that. How many sample size? Like as I said, 10 or 20 or something. Forget about it. So it is kind of issue of the sample size, but at the same time, some sort of the generalizability or applicability of the qualitative data to the more quantitatively designed the market research structure. I think it is really challenging for us, but I personally really a big fan of the qualitative approach, so I'm not trying to do that. So.
In Google, I see a lot of different types, Google Plus, Google this, etc. And one time I was trying to go into one of the apps, and they said it's not available in your country. So actually, how do you choose which application fits for different country?
I think Thank you very much for the question. We have really the complex, the internal process of how we can see the market potential, and also how we prioritize the market. But as I said, we have been based on the really quantitative analysis based on that. But even for the quantitative research, especially about the market size or opportunities, I think it is still really lagged from the current reality. I think that the national statistics or any kind of the survey data is typically the half-year old or 1 year old from the exact data collection timing. But as you know, so in the digital world, everything has changing so rapidly. So even with 6 months old data tend to be seen as really old. So it is kind of challenge to use the quantitative, even for the quantitative data, to understand the market and for the users. So that's exactly the things I'm trying to use qualitative data. But I think that nowadays, so still the qualitative research method takes really long time. So it is a quite big challenge. And I think speed is a very big issue for us. So.